So, friends, there's been a controversy unfolding online over the past 5 days or so. SNL announced new cast members. One of them is Shane Gillis, and almost immediately, some quite racist remarks about Asian Americans were unearthed from his podcast, and SNL has now fired him.
Yeah.
However,
he said some terrible things.
Yeah.
And specifically about Andrew Yang. And Andrew Yang, breaking with our current cultural moment, said, I don't want to see Shane Gillis fired.
Right.
I would like to speak with him.
He said, obviously, these comments are problematic, but I don't think he should be fired.
Exactly. And then the New York Times reports, they're quoting from the, quote, Asian American community, that Andrew Yang is basically a sellout because he does not want to see Shane Gillis fired and canceled from polite society. They basically, what they're doing is taking their worldview that they want and to push this cancellation. Then they're going out and saying that the Asian American community, quoting one person, by the way, I didn't know that this one lady
speaks for the entirety of the community.
3 million Chinese Americans, 1 million Indian Americans, God knows how many other people, and is saying that he's basically a sellout and is betraying his community for trying to urge forgiveness in our society. How are we supposed to function?
Right.
We're a multiracial, multi-ethnic democracy. What are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to just live in these balkanized racial communities? It's absolutely insane.
Well, and you know, people can have whatever view they want to have on Shane Gillis, including Andrew Yang. And what really bothers me is this kind of reporting where they clearly had a story they wanted to write.
Right.
And then they found the person who would give them the quote to write the story. And so they used this one person and her quote, which she's fine have that opinion.
Yeah, whatever.
But don't use that to say that you represent the entire Asian American community.
We already know. I know exactly how this happened. This guy was going through Twitter. He saw this tweet. He's also an Asian American himself. Clearly agrees with this woman. He's like, hey, you know what? I work at the New York Times. Let's write a story about this.
Let's make it a thing.
So he quotes her, writes this complete BS narrative about Andrew Yang, and now the paper of record is smearing the first major Asian American Democratic candidate and basically saying he's not Asian enough, that he is a betrayer of his race.
Yeah.
And as somebody who holds unorthodox views for somebody from the Indian American community, how many Indian Americans you see in the media business, I know exactly how this feels. They come at you constantly. They basically say you're a traitor to your race, or you're betraying look how white you're acting, or like, oh, you've been co-opted by whitey. The whole point of this country is we get to believe whatever the hell we want. And so, if you want to stick to this tribal ethnic stuff, I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
that's not what we're about here.
And they also point out some of the jokes that he makes. The opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian who likes math, or saying, I'm Asian American, so I know a lot of doctors. When I heard those things, first of all, it seemed to me like he was making fun of the stereotypes of the Asian community rather than trying to, that's what he's doing. He has a sense of humor.
Yeah, and they're saying, oh, Andrew's perpetuating harmful stereotypes about Asian Americans. No, he's not. He's calling them out. And you know how
he's breaking the mold.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing.
Do you know how you break that by being a major presidential candidate, making millions of dollars in Silicon Valley? I mean, that's actually how you break the stereotype. And it's just, once again, they want to control the way that we think about race, the way that we talk about race, and then they use their woke allies here in order to, perpetuate this narrative and these basically chains around how we're all allowed to behave. And Andrew and me and so many other Asian Americans who happen to be breaking that mold, you become a target of it.
It's all virtue signaling for white liberal
Exactly.
elites.
That's right.
We'll have more Rising after this.